Shroud's new game called Spectre Divide has received mixed reviews on Steam after just one day from being released, and it's safe to say that shouldn't be a surprise. For those that are unaware of this game, Spectre Divide is a 3v3 tactical hero shooter, but with a twist, the so-called Duality feature that allows you to control two characters at the same time. Not only do you have your typical plant and defuse bomb mechanics, class abilities, or different guns to shoot with, but you also have two characters that you can switch between at any given moment. Apparently for some players, this is a unique and refreshing twist to the genre, but for many other players including myself, it's just another shooter game in an already saturated market of hero shooter games. Spectre Divide was able to reach an all-time peak player count of 30,000. The subreddit has not yet reached 4,000 members, and the Twitch category for this game is not even reaching 20,000 followers. You can discuss the money put into this game for marketing and advertising as much as you want, but the reality is that there was only one big content creator covering this game at launch day, and that was Mr. Shroud himself, who has invested money and time into helping the team developing the game. Not a single big streamer or content creator covered this game at launch, besides Shroud and his second channel that seemed to have the most views at the time.
I mean, the top streamers probably just don't like the genre, and that's totally fine. You like what you like.
I think this is just straight up copium from Shroud because all of the larger content creators like Jack Frags or Summit1G, they all got sponsored to play the closed beta of this game. And they all happen to play first-person shooters quite often. And so 2 days in, there is still no large content creators playing this game besides Shroud. So trust me when I say this, it's not because people are not aware of Spectre Divide or because they don't like the genre. In fact, even Summit1G used to be a Counter-Strike pro himself. He probably still loves the genre, and if he chooses to play GTA role-playing over this game, then I believe it's because he doesn't find Spectre Divide interesting enough. Okay, so what is wrong about Spectre Divide then? Well, the first thing is that there's been a bunch of server issues that causes people to disconnect randomly, not being able to even join and play the tutorial, and just very weird queue times that forces me to wait longer than I should. I also had to restart the game a couple of times just to fix some of these issues, and when you have to restart a game because of how poor it is performing, well then that could be the nail in the coffin for many players. Negative reviews on Steam has shown this as well, where players are simply expressing their frustrations for not being able to properly play this game. Now, besides serious connection issues, you also have missing or lacking features alongside weird bugs or glitches. You cannot even cancel matchmaking while clicking on the button to cancel. It just takes you into the game anyways, which is really weird. There are not enough options to style and change your appearance, and one of the biggest features in my opinion that is completely locked at the moment is the ability to look at your career and match history. It's very rewarding and important for people to see their previous matches, as well as the scores and whatever progress they have made in the game. I simply don't understand how you cannot have this feature ready for whenever the game releases, even if you only play the casual mode on day one. Oh, and about that, it seems there are only one gameplay mode that you can play as of right now, which is the casual mode. And there might be only 3 or 4 maps that you get to play, which is very weird considering that this game has been in development for over 4 years. Besides missing features and poor launch day, there were a lot of complaints from the Steam reviews and the subreddit about prioritizing in-game store and very high prices over game features.
If it's $10, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the price is going to be.
Oh man.
It could be $1,000 too. It's the same. It's going to be the same level of feedback. We want it cheaper. Of course you do. Of course, everyone wants it cheaper. I agree. You know?
The bundles and skins in the in-game store seem to cost more than the skins and bundles in Valorant, and that is not a good thing. Like, everything here seems to be extremely expensive. And yes, I know what you're going to say.
Oh, but it's a free-to-play game. You don't have to buy these skins if you don't want to.
Well, that doesn't excuse extremely overpriced bundles and skins that most people will have a hard time affording. I get that it's a free-to-play game, but guess what? You're only enabling this behavior to become worse and predatory over time if you don't stand against it. They did back down with this because of the backlash that they received, rightfully so, but the adjustments for the pricing did not really change that much, and it's still expensive as hell. I also think that the characters or classes in this game are very generic and bland. Like, please just look at the characters on your screen right now. Can you tell the difference between any of them? Because I can't. Now compare that to the agents or characters that you can pick and play in Valorant. It's a huge difference, not just in art style, but the overall visuals that allows you to easily recognize these characters. There are no interesting backstories to any of these classes in Spectre Divide as well. Whereas in Valorant, each character has their own distinct look, their own animations whenever they are selected, a brief and concise backstory of that character, and just much cooler original abilities that suit their playstyle. This gives a reason for people to care about these characters to the point where they only want to main one character. And I could not say the same for any of the classes or characters in Spectre Divide. I'm not some Valorant fanboy, in fact I prefer Counter-Strike much more over Valorant, but I can still give good feedback and recognize what Riot Games is doing good with Valorant that happens to attract a lot of players to their game. For the last remaining point that I have for Spectre Divide, which seemed to upset a lot of fanboys and dick riders in my previous video, which is that while Spectre Divide could be a good game because of the gunplay and some of its mechanics, it's not good enough to stand out in comparison to other competitors in the genre. I made side-by-side comparisons of why I believe this game has copied and stole so much of the UI, map layout, abilities, description labels, and font text from Valorant, which some people seem to think that's totally fine and no problem in doing that. Then I briefly mentioned that I don't think the game's main selling point, the Duality feature, is that unique or special, because there are games out there that can already provide or replicate a similar experience, not entirely, but a similar experience where you're able to switch your positions back and forth. I understand that this is a new release game that excites some players to want to try it out, and I think you should try and play the game despite what me or other people have to say about it. However, I think it's very pathetic and disingenuous to say that this game doesn't look remotely close to Valorant, or that it's completely fine to copy and paste elements from other video games. Again, no one is hating on this game, me much like many other people are providing fair criticism, and I think anyone that defends these practices are just a pathetic fanboy of Shroud or this new game. I'm gonna finish my point with this video by saying that I think Spectre Divide is just a rinse and repeat with every new mediocre live service game that seems to come out nowadays. Even if you think the Duality feature is a refreshing take, despite other games already providing a similar experience, that mechanic itself would not be enough to carry this game. And remember, most people will compare this game to Valorant or Counter-Strike in 2024, and not when these games were first released. And that means Valorant and Counter-Strike have evolved so much over time that you now have a very high bar to reach if you want to be able to compete with them. I'm not saying that I don't want this game to succeed or that I want Shroud to fail. I'm simply saying it's not good enough to stand out. The YouTube comments are people having the same opinions, the Twitch follower count, the low player count, the mixed reviews on Steam, all of it points towards the idea that it will simply not last very long. You can hate and dislike the video all you want, but I'm not gonna fall for any mediocre bullshit that comes out these days. That's about it. Have a good day, folks.